Welcome back to another video guys, this is Haloist here, and today's guide will be for the third area of Border Pact, which is Yazaki Reclaimed Land. This area's difficulty seems almost the same as Glazed Ark, so be prepared to get your ass handed to you as usual. Well, without further ado, let's move on to the first stage of this area, which is Maintenance Tunnel. It is highly recommended for you to bring a physical damage dealer for the first fight, since the mobs there take more physical damage and less elemental damage. Similarly, for the second fight, you'll want to bring a lightning damage dealer, since the enemies there take more lightning damage. Now for the mob layout. In the first fight, there will be 1 Ronin and 2 Executors. In the second fight, there will be 1 Royal Guard, 2 Pilgrims, and 1 Missionary. And in the third fight, for the first wave, there will be 2 Executors and 2 Missionaries. For the second wave, there will be 1 Excavator and 1 Ronin. Now that we know the mob layout, let us begin the mission. In the first fight, I'll highly recommend you to focus on the Ronin first, since the Executors have a gap closing move, so you won't have to worry about chasing them. In the second fight, the Royal Guard has a lightning shield. Therefore, it is best to focus on the other enemies first to avoid running out of dodges. In the third fight, for the first wave, it is highly recommended to focus on the missionaries first to prevent them from spawning minions. And for the second wave, focus on the Excavator first, since he has a frail debuff and the Ronin has a lightning shield. Alright, let's move on to the second stage, which is Shopping Town. It is highly recommended for you to bring a fire damage dealer for the first fight, since the enemies there take more fire damage. Similarly, in the second fight, it is highly recommended to bring a dark damage dealer, since the enemies there take more dark damage. Now the third fight is a little more complicated, since the enemies there have a closed loop buff. This buff reduces your damage dealt the further away you are from them. However, In my experience, it is always safer to use a ranged construct here to snipe them from afar instead of using a melee construct. Now for the mob layout. In the first fight, for the first wave, there will be 1 Musashi 9 and 2 Deconstructors. For the second wave, there will be 1 Musashi 9 and 1 Bio Salamander. In the second fight, for the first wave, there will be 1 Explorer and 2 Ronins. In the second wave, there will be 1 Excavator and 1 Explorer. And in the third fight, there will be 2 Polar Soldiers. Okay, now let's get the fight started. In the first fight, or the first wave, I'll focus on the Musashi first, since the Deconstructors have gap closer moves, so you don't have to chase them down. For the second wave, I prefer to take down the Biosalamander first, since it tends to snipe you from afar. For the second fight, in the first wave, focus on the Explorer first to prevent getting sniped. For the second wave, focus on the Excavator instead, since the Explorer has a frail debuff and you can easily kill him with AoE attacks.
快要支撑不住了。
我也可以。
欢迎踏入爱的世界，你会后悔。下次可以再缜密一点，虽然现在也很不错。
In the third fight, the Polar Soldier on the right has a lightning shield, and the one on the left has a recovery buff, so make sure to focus on the left one first.
你罪孽深重的灵魂吧，主不会原谅你的。 主宝玉。是一场爽快的战斗。
With that done, let's move on to the third stage, which is Yazaki Park. Now this stage is much tougher than the previous two stages, mainly because of the extremely small area that you get to fight in. This will likely result in many cheap deaths. You might have to use quite a few revives here, unless you're going for the no death run. The main tips I have for this stage is to bring a burst DPS, or at least a 4-piece Hana memory user for the second fight. This is because the enemies there have a very high rate of attack, and one of them has the lightning shield. I would also highly recommend for you to bring a range construct for the third fight. This is because the Versago that you have to fight there has a lightning shield and has a one-shot roaring move, which is almost impossible to dodge as a melee construct. With that out of the way, let's move on to the mob layouts. In the first fight, there will be one Gardener, one Protector, and 2 Pilgrims. In the second fight, there will be one Royal Guard, one Gardener, and 2 Sentry Guns. In the third fight, there will be a single Versago, and in the fourth fight, for the first wave, there will be 2 Biosalamanders. In the second wave, there will be one Rocket Musashi and 2 Excavators, and for the third wave, there will be one Sword Musashi. Now let's start the final stage. The first fight is pretty much a trial and error till the fight clicks for you, so just keep trying till you succeed.
你会后悔于我。伤到我，有点像。欢迎踏入爱的世界。你会后悔于我。你会后悔。下次可以再缜密一点，虽然现在也很不错。
In the second fight, just take note that the Royal Guard has a lightning shield, and one of the sentry gun has radiation. It is highly recommended for you to burst the Royal Guard down, since all the other mobs are extremely tanky.
我的刀刃吧！假如这是最后的战斗就好了，指挥官。
In the third fight, the other reason why I highly recommend a ranged construct is because if you are using a melee construct, it is extremely difficult to see the red circles of the lightning shield procs, since it is partially covered by Versago's body. The other trick that I'm using here is to run around the edges of the map once Versago starts digging. This ensures when it re-emerges, I have more space to run when it starts doing its head slam attack. This also ensures that I will not be hit by its sprawling attack. Once you get past Versago, it should be smooth sailing from here. Just make sure not to be comboed by the excavators in the second wave and play defensively on the third wave, since the Musashi there can and will one-shot you. Well, there we have it. Third area completed. If this video has helped you, please remember to give it a like and perhaps even drop a subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.